Welcome to Books for Success. Today, we're delving into the wisdom within Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. Uncover meaningful and crucial truths about romance, love, and friendship through the lens of Dolly Alderton's experience and realize your worth. You'll learn the dangers of online relationships, why being skinny doesn't equal happiness, how relationships with friends transform over time, the value of psychotherapy in discovering. Subscribe and ring the bell for notifications if you want to keep receiving the knowledge of book summaries about health, wealth, love, psychology, and much more. Don't be shy about dropping your book suggestions for us to summarize. Also, you can use this video as an audiobook summary. Let's grow and succeed together. Love takes effort. Self-love takes even more. The desire for love is natural to every individual. From adolescence, we try to get attention from those who attract us. We strive for partners, relationships, acceptance, and understanding. We face obstacles, challenges, and small tragedies whenever a relationship ends. Through the pain of disappointment and the joy of new encounters, we learn about the world and gain valuable experience that reveals previously unknown aspects of being. Varying factors shape our personalities, from our relationship with our parents to the music we listen to and the books we read. But how can you avoid losing your true self in the vortex of these events and feelings? How to understand where your boundaries end. How to stay honest with yourself and not betray yourself. Dolly Alderton seeks answers to these questions and sincerely shares her experience of complex emotional states and feelings. Her intimate confession about the challenges of growing up makes you think about your life and reconsider understanding the concepts of love and friendship. It is not a romantic story about finding a significant other but a memoir of a long journey to oneself and one's identity. Here you will learn about the pain of loss, disillusionment, the consequences of an existential crisis, and the power of friends who support and stick by you no matter what. The lessons Alderton learns will help you realize the value of your experiences and feel that you are not alone in this unpredictable world. Real-life relationships are different from online ones. Do you know the feeling of desperate anticipation, waiting for a message from an online friend? Your heart flutters, your palms sweat, and real life seems unimportant. During her teenage years, Dolly Alderton got hooked on MSN Messenger and sucked into the world of online communication. It was her first experience with boys. Even during vacations and trips with her parents, she sought a way to connect to the internet and continue messaging with friends. Rather than walking in the fresh air and soaking up the sun, Alderton spent most of her time in a dark basement to receive the warmth of online communication. Her parents did not prevent this hobby because they understood it meant a lot to her. There she met a guy who liked her. They shared their experiences, dreams, jokes, and, of course, their favorite music. A real-life meeting was the logical next step, but it ended in disappointment and led to a breakup. The online image of the boy did not correspond to reality. Analyzing communication in social networks at a more mature age, Dolly Alderton realized that it leaves too much room for imagination. She recalls drawing scenarios of her relationship that were far from reality. Meeting someone in real life allows you to perceive them as they truly are rather than clinging to an imagined perception, which often leads to disappointment when reality falls short. In addition, online communication can also encourage you to polish your self-image and show only the part you find attractive. After all, a flawless portrayal of yourself can result in emotional and psychological difficulties caused by social media expectations. During her teen years, Alderton filtered the best version of herself so much that she shared only her friends' favorite songs and jokes with the boys. She feared that her authentic tastes, ideas, and views would not impress them. It's hardly conducive to developing an honest and open relationship, but adolescence is full of strange things due to lack of experience. In any relationship, romantic or platonic, it's crucial to be yourself because what seems like a flaw to you can be a reason for your partner to love you. Although Dolly Alderton's story doesn't rule out meeting your love on social networks, it serves as a reminder that you can get rid of any vain hopes by meeting them in person. Growing up is not only about freedom. As a teenager, it may seem that the sooner we become adults, the happier and more fulfilled our existence will be. We want to take control of our lives, forget all the rules our parents made us follow, and finally get the freedom we've been dreaming of. The desire to grow up was the reason for many of Alderton's actions. She drank alcohol, went to loud parties, and did frivolous things like going to another city in a drunken state at night. Of course, these decisions had their consequences. Alderton had to borrow money from friends to get home and felt embarrassed. After a while, she even gained the image of a party girl, always ready for a good time. When Alderton was 24 years old, she worked as an independent author and on television. At the same time, she continued to attend raucous parties and often had to deal with a hangover in the morning. It was as though she was leading a double life, being productive and diligent in one while rebelling against norms and seeking amusement in the other. Analyzing her experiences later, Alderton realized that alcohol was her way to feel more confident and independent. Thanks to the parties, the young writer met many people and collected impressive stories, which she then shared with her friends. However, there was another side to such a life. Alderton often felt ashamed the following day and sometimes could not recall the previous night's events. She feared being accused of something she didn't even remember. Ironically, the strategy of growing up as quickly as possible, thanks to alcohol and partying, made Alderton feel like an embarrassed child. In addition, the frequent feeling of shame lowered her self-esteem. Over time, the young woman realized that alcohol does not solve problems but multiplies them. Growing up wasn't easy for Dolly Alderton, but this experience also gave her many memorable moments. True friends always supported her and helped her through tough times. Dolly knew that despite life's difficulties, she had close people with whom she could share all her sorrows and joys. You are more than your body. Dolly Alderton's first romantic relationship ended in heartbreak when her boyfriend, Harry, dumped her over the phone. They were completely different because she loved loud parties and sometimes behaved expressively, which was strange for a calm young man, like Harry. He said he didn't love her anymore. It was painful and offensive. The whirlwind of complex emotions resulted in Alderton losing both her taste for life and appetite. She always loved good food, so it was unexpected. She often cooked for her friends from her family's recipes, but during that period of her life, she did not want to eat, much less cook. A few weeks after the breakup, Alderton weighed herself and noticed how much she had lost. She liked her new look, with smaller hips and a slimmer waist, and she decided to do everything possible to lose even more weight. Obsessively counting calories, engaging in rigorous exercise, and surviving on a sparse diet of carrot sticks and Diet Coke became her routine. Of course, her family was concerned, but Alderton avoided talking about food and lied about not being hungry. When her period stopped after a month of crash dieting, she felt both fear and inspiration because it seemed she was becoming a new person. Underneath the pursuit to be slimmer was self-rejection and a desire to improve. At that time, Dolly Alderton believed she was moving in the right direction because society constantly rewarded her efforts to be thin. People complimented her, asked her out, and gave her that much-desired feeling of acceptance. However, there was another side to her reality. The future writer's health worsened, and friends' worries often turned into irritation. During this period, she fell in love for the first time. At a party, she met a young graduate student, Leo, who had been part of her life for a long time. The love and support of her partner inspired Dolly's desire to eat. She went to the doctor, started gaining weight, and fell in love with cooking again. This crisis shows how vulnerable a woman can be about her body and appearance and how hard it is to accept herself as she is. Although Alderton still occasionally feels the urge to count calories, she understands that her appearance doesn't define her personality. Friendships change over time, and it's okay. The value of true friendship cannot be exaggerated. It is a gift when you have someone in whom you can confide your innermost secrets, who understands your jokes, and stays by your side in any situation. Alderton met her friend Farley as a teenager. They had different personalities but shared a sharp sense of humor and a sincere interest in each other. They decided to live together during university, and Farley became a special friend to the extent that she envisioned them living in neighboring houses after marriage and children. However, reality made its corrections and shattered youthful dreams. When Farley met a guy, moved in with him, and began living a separate life, an avalanche of disappointment, resentment, and indescribable sadness overwhelmed Alderton. She was experiencing a collapse of illusions because it seemed her friend had thrown her out of her life, replacing her with a boyfriend. The young woman's bitterness was even stronger because she was the one who introduced Farley to Scott, who had become such an important part of her life. Alderton hid her feelings behind sarcastic jokes to avoid offending her friend. It seemed to her that everything had changed forever and would never be the same again. As the painful feelings subsided, Alderton realized that change did not mean the end. Growth and new experiences transform relationships with loved ones. To maintain warmth and mutual understanding, we must make efforts. We have to prioritize, look for opportunities, and schedule ahead of time to make it work for everyone. By giving freedom and respect to our friends, we show how valuable these relationships are to us. Because of the hurt, Alderton didn't immediately notice how happy Farley was with Scott, but love and time helped her accept her friend's choice. Sometimes friendship requires us to give in to our beliefs and make compromises, but what we get in return is far more valuable. Did you know? July 30th is International Friendship Day. Sometimes a stranger can give you hope. At age 25, Dolly Alderton experienced her first existential crisis, a state of anxiety and inner turmoil triggered by contemplations about one's place in the world. It is a turning point that often leads to personal transformations. Alderton lost interest in what she had previously enjoyed, so she spent much time alone, feeling disinterested in the outside world. After much thought, Alderton resigned from her television job to devote all her free time to writing and planned a trip to New York. She hoped that another city she liked so much would free her from worries and allow her to reset. Unfortunately, Alderton's expectations did not come true. The previously friendly New York was completely different this time. Now the independent writer noticed all the unpleasant details of the city that had not annoyed her before. The people around her seemed rude, and the subway was uncomfortable and confusing. Alderton felt that the city wanted to spit her out. Dolly Alderton was looking for new acquaintances to dispel her growing sense of loneliness. She hoped she could have a good time, so she sent Tinder messages saying she was in New York. One Frenchman responded and invited her to his place. However, the meeting was not what she expected because the guy offered her group sex with his roommate. It was the last straw that made Alderton run away from that apartment as far as possible. However, following this unsuccessful encounter, fate proved that after the darkness comes the sun. She received a Tinder message during a trip to the small town of Catskills in upstate New York to forget about all her unpleasant adventures. A man named Adam invited her to meet him. Alderton decided to take a risk. This meeting differed from the previous one. She seemed to have found her soulmate. And although this relationship did not develop into something more, it was something that Alderton needed. She shared all her worries, fears, and pain with the stranger. Adam listened to her, held her hand, and helped her remember how wonderful life is. After returning home, she felt that the crisis had passed, and her life was filled with meaning again. Psychotherapy helps you find yourself. Many situations in life are too complicated for us to cope with on our own. We experience losses and disappointments. We feel vulnerable and weak when our expectations aren't met. However, there are ways to help yourself and understand your true desires. Psychotherapy can be a crucial support during difficult life stages. Although Dolly Alderton always said she didn't need psychological help, one day, she felt the time had come. She had previously heard numerous preconceived notions about psychotherapy, including that it solely focused on shifting blame. However, she chose to disregard those misconceptions and get some help. Anxiety permeated her entire being, and she did not know how to deal with it. She spent a lot of time alone, left only with her thoughts. Therefore, she asked her friend for a specialist's number and made an appointment. Alderton was sitting in a small room across from Eleanor, her psychotherapist, talking about all her fears and anxieties. At every meeting, she learned something new about herself. She realized she had given all of herself to others throughout her life. They reminisced about her childhood and explored all the situations that caused Alderton to experience strong feelings. There, she found a safe space to be herself. Alderton felt herself becoming more honest and open every day. Psychotherapy became the starting point that launched her transformation and growth. Of course, like any change, it wasn't easy. After 5 months of therapeutic progress, Alderton felt protest and reluctance to continue therapy. It seemed to her that there was no point in repeatedly scrolling through this or that event in the session to understand what exactly went wrong. Her inner psyche defended itself against the analysis that was a normal part of psychotherapy. Alderton stopped the meetings for a while but later returned. Eleanor's support and professionalism helped her client move forward with the process. After some time, she was no longer afraid of Friday's therapy sessions but, on the contrary, understood the value of the experience. Psychotherapy helped Alderton become stronger. She felt she had finally found inner peace and the way to herself. Conclusion. Dolly Alderton has had a long and challenging journey to self-awareness and self-acceptance. She looked for herself in relationships with men, in loud parties and breathtaking adventures, but did not find what she was looking for. Despite the disappointment, Alderton explored life with interest and concluded her mistakes. She discovered many crucial truths about relationships that can be helpful. Men often choose calm and confident women, not those who try to impress them. Building a relationship in real life is better, as you can immediately see a partner's shortcomings. The attitude of others toward you reflects your perspective of yourself. Nothing should keep you in an unhappy relationship. No one can make you happy but you. Alderton realized that a healthy relationship begins with self-love. She learned that happiness does not require extraordinary experiences, charismatic musicians to compose a song for her, or a guru who will reveal unknown truths. She finally understood her value and integrity. It was a long road through fears, illusions, and expectations, but she succeeded. Thanks to self-awareness and the sincere support of her friends, Dolly Alderton learned that she already had everything she needed for happiness: herself, her thoughts, her feelings, and her dreams. Of course, life can take you where it wants, but by remembering your self-worth, you'll always find your way back to yourself. Try this. Write a list of everything you love and appreciate about yourself. Reread this checklist every time you doubt yourself. Close your eyes and analyze how you feel now. Identifying your feelings helps you become aware of your needs. Thanks for being part of our insightful voyage. If our summary piqued your interest, we encourage you to dive into the complete book for a deeper understanding. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more content if you're new here, and share it with others who might find it valuable. Keep on reading, discovering, and advancing until our next adventure.